I decided to try to narrow down the columns first. So this column adds up to 4. So can there be a 4 in this column? No, because if you put a 4 there, then putting anything else would make the total exceed 4. And is it possible that there is no 2? If there's no 2, then it would only add up to 3, so there has to be a 2 in this column. And then the remaining 2 squares both have to be 1s to get it to add up to 4. And then for the column that adds up to 5, there can't be a 4 because then it would have to add up to at least 6. And it can't be all 1s because then it would only add up to 3, and also there aren't even enough 1s. So there has to be a 2 in this column. And then the other 2 squares have to be a 1 and a 2 to add up to 5. And then there's only a 1 and a 2 left, so there has to be a 4 in the column that adds up to 9, just because there's not enough squares if you don't use a 4. And the same reasoning applies to the column that adds up to 10. And then if you don't put a 4 in another 4 in either of these columns, if you just use the 1 and 2, they don't add up to enough. So there has to be another 4 in both of these. And then this one is 8, and it needs to add up to 10, so you need to put the 2 there, and then the 1. So I've got the columns sorted out, and I need to figure out if there's any way I can narrow down what the rows would be. So would it be possible for there to not be a 4 in the 11 row? At most it could be, without any 4s, it would at most be 2, 2, 2, 2. So there has to be a 4 in the 11 row. And then if there's only one 4 in the 11 row, it would be 4, 2, 2, 2, which only adds up to 10. So there has to be 2 4s in the 11 row. And there's no 4 in the 5 column. There's no 4 in the 4 column. So the only places that the 2 4s could be in the 11 row is where they are right now. So those 2 squares are locked down. They can't change. So is it possible to change the 1 and 4 in the 9 column? Like, does it have to stay this way, or do we have to switch them? With a 4 in the 7 row, the other 3 squares would have to be 1, 1, 1 to make it add up to 7, but there's no 1 available in the 10 column. So by having a 4 here, it makes this total in this row exceed 7. So this has to be the 1 on the top. So this L shape is locked down. And then we have this 2 and 4 in the 10 column that could possibly switch around. So we have it narrowed down to 2 possibility trees, and one of them is with the 2 and the 4 in this order, and the other one is with the 2 and the 4 switched. So you'll just try and see, like, if we have the 2 and 4 in this order, then does it narrow down what these remaining 6 can do? So assuming these 6 have to be this way, then this is 4 and 4, they add to 8. So the remaining 2 squares in the 10 row have to be both 1s, which means this 1 has to be here. And that just leaves, like, do this 1 and 2 need to switch places? And yeah, they do, because we can see that they're not adding up. Once I switch them, everything adds up correctly. So if you assume the 2 and 4 go in this order, there's only one possibility. But now we have to try the other tree. Now assume that the 2 and 4 go in this order and see if that narrows down the remaining possibilities. With a 4 here in the 7 row, the other 3 in the 7 row all have to be 1s. So this 1 in the 5 column has to go on the top, and a 1 has to go in the top of the 4 row, and then you just have to figure out between this 1 and 2 what order they go in. If they're in the other order, then these 2 rows aren't adding up correctly. So it has to be in this order. So by looking at the 2 possibilities of these 2 squares, we narrowed down all the possibilities to just those 2 options. So that's why the number of solutions is 2.